the bunny back in the box.
Nicholas Coppola. That's
Is that it? That's it?
After your minute-long one, I just want to get it short and sweet. Hey, everyone. Welcome into We Gauge Cage. This is a podcast where we watch every Nicolas Cage movie ever made, from worst to best, according to your IMDb ratings, in an effort to determine whether or not he is a good actor, because neither of us are familiar enough. With his work. I'm your host, Brian Ambrosius. With me, as always, the fiery diarrhea to my Taco Bell, Brock Archer.
I'll take it.
How you doing?
I'll take it. I'm doing well. How are you?
You'll take it? I was wondering if you would take it or not, or else if you would tell me that I should have gone Buffalo Wild Wings.
I'll accept it, but, well, for my sake, I can't do the B-dubs. I can't do Buffalo Wild Wings. I can do Taco Bell. Taco Bell's fine.
You can't do a lot of things.
Well, it's mostly Buffalo Wild Wings. Like, I can do wings at any other restaurant, but Buffalo Wild Wings kills my insides. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the chicken. I don't know if it's the ranch or the blue cheese that they use. It's just something with their sauces, like something with Buffalo Wild Wings. And every time it's delicious. I love it. But I wake up like that night, midnight, and I have to like army crawl to the toilet and just like die on it for an hour or two. It's the worst. And I tell myself,
does it happen with Taco Bell for you too?
No, not at all. Taco Bell's
really?
fine. Yeah, Taco Bell's fine.
After eating Taco Bell, I get a little grumbles.
It's just Buffalo Wild Wings. And I tell myself every time, don't do it. Don't go back. Don't do it. And then I go back. And then like 3 months passes and I'm like, oh.
Are you about to take that ceremonial first sip or...
I am.
At the start. You only do it like during the intro here and then you never touch it again for the whole rest of the podcast.
Yeah, dude. I was munching on grapes all the last episode, baby. I could tell.
I think there was a spot where we could still hear you munching on the grapes. Dude, all right.
I think it happens when I get bored.
Speaking of last episode, like, I don't think my mic was connected properly, man. I think I was recording through my laptop, so it sounded shitty again. Like, I cannot wait for the day when I can go 2 podcasts without having to apologize for my audio, but I sounded like shit, man. I'm sorry.
I mean... Don't apologize to me. Apologize to the people.
We did extensive testing this time, and they sound good. I also felt like, so last episode, I noticed my mic kept peaking, no matter where I turned my gain. So I was like sitting way back in my chair. So then I think because I was so far away from the mic, I was trying to overcompensate by yelling, so I just sounded like I was yelling the whole time.
Short man syndrome.
I was embarrassed. I'm sorry.
Short man syndrome, overcompensating all the time.
And just so that you're aware, I did end up giving Zondali a 3. So I didn't give it the 4, I gave it a 3.
Okay.
I'm
glad to hear it.
One other thing that I noticed, so I went through and I rated all the movies. Did I give one a 5? I might have gave Ghost Rider a 5, because it was bad, but I didn't think it was like terrible, so it was close. It was close.
Yeah, it was entertaining. I mean, it captured my attention. I believe Ghost Rider right now, Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, is my highest rated at a 4. 4 out of 10.
So I've
been rating them all too.
I almost gave Deadfall a 5, but I was just like, no, Brian, the movie sucked. Just because Nic Cage is over the top, you can't give it a 5. But here's something interesting that I noticed. I got to the Humanity Bureau, and it was rated a what? Like a 4? Solid 4 when we watched it?
I think 4 even, yeah.
It is now a 6.6, and it has 68.6 of the votes are a 10.
It's because those where did it just recently get, like, Syria or something like that? It's some weird, like, Middle Eastern country, or, like, Bahrain, or anyway. Some Middle Eastern country got released, and it's probably just eating it up and giving it 10 stars.
I mean, that means that movie would be so much higher on our list if we would have put it out, or if we would have gotten our list today. And, like, it was not... Didn't you say that's your least favorite so far?
Oh, absolutely. It was the worst.
And it's a 6.6 now.
It's my lowest rated. But, I don't know. We'll have to wait until the end of this one.
I hated this one.
I have some cleanup from last episode.
Let's do it. Let's hear it.
I have some umbrage that I want to take with you.
Professor Umbridge.
Professor Umbridge. Aaron Neville, Brian.
No one's heard of him.
Okay. False. Aaron Neville. You try to paint me as some, like, obscure knowledge haver. Like Aaron Neville's name is some sort of, like, trivia contest winner. No. Aaron Neville sings one of the most recognizable Christmas songs ever recorded. And you, Brian James Ambrosius, are one of the, like, Mr. Christmas songs out there. Like, you play a Christmas song every day, like, for the 25 days of Christmas. So the fact that you don't know Aaron Neville's Christmas song...
What is it? What's the song of it? What is it?
Pretty sure it's Please Come Home for Christmas.
Okay.
Do you want me to sing? Do you want me to sing it?
I just put it up on YouTube. I'm going to play a quick sound clip of it, okay?
Oh, absolutely. And
here we go.
3 seconds and everybody will know what song this is.
All right, here we go.
Bells will be ringing, the glad, glad news. Oh, what a Christmas
That is my jam.
to have the blues. My baby's gone.
Never heard of it. Never heard it.
Bull! Don't give me this, Brian.
The version that I know is the John Bon Jovi version.
No, you've heard that version. It's
I've
like
never heard
in
that
the
version.
beginning. I will find where that song is in the beginning of the movie. It's in like the Santa Claus or something.
It's not in the Santa Claus. I would know if it's in the Santa Claus. We watch the
swear
Santa
to
Claus
God.
every year.
Brian, I will fight you to the death on this one.
You know what's funny is that Nic Cage drops a Christmas line in this movie.
Does he? God.
Did you catch it?
No, I didn't catch it this time. But every movie, like just like Ghost Rider, it was Merry Christmas, assholes. Like, he loves Christmas. Maybe that's going to start being a trope. I don't know.
Maybe.
Anyway, all I got to say is that is a super famous song. So even if people don't know the name Aaron Neville, they know that song. I guarantee it. You are in the wrong here.
So are you saying he's the originator of that song?
No, but I'm saying he sings that song, and he is a famous musician.
Everybody sings
who
that
has
song.
A famous Christmas album, and
everybody sings that song. You get a Christmas album, they all got the same, like, 30 songs.
A ton of people sing that song, but, like, that version is famous. That version is so famous, and you can't bullshit your way out of, I never heard it.
I never did. Never heard it.
That's garbage. That is garbage.
I don't listen to old Christmas songs anymore. How old is he? Like, when would that have been released?
He was in Zandali in 91, and you saw him. So what I'm arguing, like, so Aaron Neville is a bartender in Zandali. That's, like, our bartender, the one who serves up the drinks and ignores all of the Nic Cage drug deals, is Aaron Neville himself. So he's, I hear hands.
He did not sound like that.
Hands.
He didn't sound like that.
Sure as the stars shine above. Yeah, that's Aaron Neville.
Great.
That's
was
Aaron Neville.
There was
Voice of our generation.
There was someone else that we want to give a shout out to, and we don't know this person, but there is. We think it's one person in Tokyo who keeps listening to our podcast.
Yeah, so we can see some metrics, and we see that somebody in Tokyo is.
It's either one person listening to every episode, or it's like a different person from Tokyo happens to listen to each podcast.
Just one.
Like, that doesn't make sense. So I think it's one person.
It's just the intro app.
No, it's not.
They're just telling all their friends.
Oh, kidding. Yeah. No. But no, hey, Tokyo, shout out. We're glad you're listening.
In Tokyo. Konnichiwa?
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Bitches. What is that from?
I don't.
Konnichiwa, bitches.
It's from everything.
Okay. Was there anything else?
Nope.
That's it?
That's it. That's it for me. Let's get into Dying of the Light, a.k.a. fading of my attention span.
A.k.a. what the fuck is happening?
A.k.a. disappearing of my giving a care.
A.k.a. how?
A.k.a. the 2014 film from Nicolas Cage, So basically, you did a little bit of research, right, on Nic
I did.
Cage and like where it all kind of started going downhill for him.
Yeah.
And what year was that? Like 2006?
Like 2010, I think.
Was it 2010?
Something like that.
So I'm gonna consider basically like every movie that Nic Cage makes after 2010, like his Castle period. So Picasso had his Blue period, and Nic Cage has his Castle period, where essentially he's going to take every and any movie role he can get his hands on. He's almost always going to be the star, and this is a typical Castle movie.
Every movie from about 2014 till now is the exact same.
Yeah.
And that's why they're at the bottom of our list. That's why they're on the 4 to 5 range on IMDb. Every movie I don't like today I was on IMDb looking at some trivia about this one, and it says like people who watch this also watched, it has a bunch of films from him.
Oh yeah, and they're all the same.
All the movie posters are the exact same. It's just his big ugly mug, some action stuff going on around him.
Hey,
I have a note in here that he looked good in this movie. When
Yeah.
he's not trying to use the shoe polish to make his hair look better, he looks good. Did you see how much this movie cost to make?
I'm gonna guess $25 million.
5.
$5 million?
Yes. How much of that do you
What
think
the
went to
hell?
Nic Cage?
Eastern Europe. 2.
1.
Oh.
$5 million to make. $1 million went to him. How much did it make at the box office?
International, like
Total.
worldwide.
Total.
1.3.
I don't know if it was released worldwide.
1.3
1.3 what? Thousand?
million.
You'd be closer with 1.3 thousand.
Oh, baby.
It made $6,627.
So we lost another $6 million.
$4,999,000, whatever. 99,990,000. I don't know. 94 million.
So
Whatever.
so there's a trope of Nic Cage's Castle period. So that's the thing. He's making money off of this. Nobody else is.
But
They gotta keep like taking shots though. You gotta keep like shooting for the moon and hoping that one of these movies is gonna hit and make you a little bit of coin
apparently
by putting him in it.
The director and the actors loved this movie. But
absolutely.
the studio took control of the final edit and just edited the shit out of it, added their own music, took out scenes they didn't care about. That's why this movie's only 93 minutes long. Like, I texted you, I was like, the best thing about these new Nic Cage films is that they're only 90 minutes long because, like, then we don't have to sit through so much bullshit. But they really hated it. They disowned this film because they hate how it's edited now. And I don't know if his edit could have made this movie tolerable. This is, spoiler alert, my least favorite movie that we've watched so far.
So I'm fresh off of watching this movie. I literally just got done about 10 minutes
so did
ago.
I got done half an hour ago.
I'm trying to decide whether... I'm still trying to process whether this one was worse than Humanity Bureau and whether I gave less of a care about this one or Humanity Bureau. And I don't know if I've decided yet or not, so maybe I'll just have to wait until the end, and then I'll update you then. How about
There
that?
are so many plot points about this movie that just like make my skin crawl because it's so unbelievable. Let's get into it.
Okay.
Nic Cage is a CIA agent named Evan Lake. However, when the movie opens, it's him getting beat up by like an Arab person. He's tied down, he's getting whipped up, and he keeps saying his name is Charles Rachowski.
Yeah.
So then later they start calling him Evan Lake, and you realize, oh, Charles Rachowski was like a fake name he was giving them. Quick scene there of him getting beat up, cuts to 22 years later. What I liked about this one, as that was different from Arsenal, Arsenal, he looked old as shit. And then they cut however many years in the future, like 30? And he looked the same?
23.
Something like that. This one cuts 22 years in the future. He had brown hair in the torture scene. This one, he's got gray hair. They actually tried to make him look a little older, which I appreciated.
So instead of shoe polishing him up, now you'd think like, okay, so did they just like not dye his hair, like, and that's like what he really looks like
That's what I read.
51-year-old man? I don't think so. They had to gray him out.
Maybe they grayed it a little bit, but it's his more natural color. And it looked fuller. Like, his hairstyle looks so much better this one. You can't talk about his widow's peak because, what? He looked better.
No.
Don't give me that face.
No. I gave, for those of you that, aren't spying on me right now using CIA technology, no. My face was in abject horror and disgust at the fact that Nicolas Cage's hair looked good in this movie.
Better.
It looked wispier than a wispy willow.
Donald Trump's hair?
Oh, it was borderline Trumpian in terms of just
it
like...
It looked better. What? So you would rather him look like he did in Humanity Bureau?
No, I would not, because that was
exactly.
also terrifying.
This looked way better.
But like, his widow's peak was just like it was like Homer Simpson, like wisp, like three shoots of hair like popping up and over for like a comb over. I'm not saying it looked bad because it was white. It fit. I get it. He had to be old, but it was a little rough. So okay, so he's getting interrogated by this young like Arab man, and the guy's basically like trying to get a name out of him, and he won't give the name. And then the guy says like, "This doesn't end here. This ends when you die." And then he cracks him over the head with a cricket bat.
Sure. Now it cuts to 22 years later, and there's a guy speaking on stage, kind of introducing Nic Cage, and Nic Cage is off on the side waiting to like walk out, and his hand starts shaking. So you're like, oh boy, he's got some problems.
Uh-oh.
And the way that he walks on the stage after he's introduced is so Nic Cage. He walks out very forcefully, hard, heavy steps, has his back to the crowd, and just, boom, 180 turn, and just starts ranting.
Gives a 180 turn with like a weird like heel click.
Yes, like a stomp.
Yep.
And do you want to? I know you like the intro. Like, you like the introduction to Nic Cage? Is there more you want to talk about?
I mean, he's introed as a legendary CIA agent, and he starts giving a speech to recruits. And right away, the camera is like focused on his ear, which is split up. And so you're thinking,
like an elf ear almost.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, what's going on there? I'm sure they're going to tell us.
And he says, "What the hell are you doing here? Haven't you heard? The CIA fell from the Berlin Wall, and all the president's men can't put it back together again. It's broke! But you heard the call." That's why they're there. They heard the call.
So he's giving a speech to a room full of recruits for the CIA, right? Mm-hmm. And you think like, oh, okay, so like he's some legendary agent, and he's gonna like train these a la, all the other CIA movies that we've seen. No, that was it. He just needs to give the speech. That's the only like purpose that this serves, is that like he's legendary, and so like they get him to give the speech every year. Well, blah 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 blah. Yeah,
and we find out later it's because they know he's like declining health wise.
He's old.
After this, it cuts to him in his office, and he's shaking. He talks to someone who's basically like, "I'm tired of my desk job. I thought I'd be out in the field."
Yeah, and he starts having another flashback to the ear. So he wants to be out in the field. Then he's driving, and he starts having a flashback back to the room where he was hit with the cricket bat, like with the Arab man, and that's when we see that his ear gets snipped, right? And so it's like, oh yeah, yay! So like, well, that was explained pretty easily. Thanks for that. But okay, so you start seeing that like he's having some problems.
Shaking, like flashbacks, like, and the camera like kind of gets, what am I trying to say here? Like blurry.
Yeah.
When he's having these like flashbacks, like
hazy,
kind of telling you like,
wavery.
oh, something's going on. Yeah.
Yeah. So then it cuts to a Romanian part, right? And we find out later that it's
not
Romanian.
yet.
No?
Not yet, because there's a great scene that happens here. He talks to his bosses, and they say, like, no, you have to have this desk job, whatever. So he goes back to his office, and he's, like, shaking again because of his disease. And in walks Milt. Milt is a coworker of his, a young buck, and he sees Nic Cage's hand shaking. So he comes in, and Nic Cage goes, "Hey, put that dictionary on my hand. It's that book over there, the orange one. It's a dictionary." And the guy goes, "I know what a dictionary is." And it's like, thank you! This is what Nic Cage does. That orange book over there. It's a dictionary. Yeah, he knows what a fucking dictionary is, Nick. You don't need to spell it out for him. And this guy's finally just like, yeah, I know. And that is not Nic Cage's disease causing him to talk like that. That's just Nic Cage in every goddamn movie we see him in. He's too... He
condescending?
Explains too much. Yeah,
He's condescending. Yeah, he's
it's
super
that orange book.
condescending.
It's a dictionary. We know what a freaking dictionary is, Nick.
Surprising that he didn't call him a little girl.
Yeah.
Or somehow otherwise, like, emasculate the kid.
Yeah, so
now
now
Milt is played by Anton Yelchin, like the dearly departed Anton Yelchin.
World famous, right?
Well, he's a fairly famous actor. He played
everyone's heard of him.
Chekhov in Star Trek. He was in Green Room. He's been in a ton of different films, but he died recently when his Jeep parking brake failed and backed over him in his driveway.
Yep.
So yeah, people know Anton Yelchin. I'm not pulling
no, they
these.
Don't.
Yes, they do.
They do not know Anton Yelchin.
Yes, they do. He's been in movies. Brian, just because the only movies that you've seen are The Fucking Artist and Why Him doesn't mean... I'm sorry that he wasn't in The Artist and Why Him. I'm sorry.
You throw out these names. No one knows who Anton Yelchin is.
People will know who Anton Yelchin is. Anybody who's seen a fucking movie in the last 5 years will know who Anton Yelchin is.
You say so.
He's second billed in this movie.
Yeah, so that doesn't mean shit. That just means...
So you had no idea who this kid was the entire time?
No.
It's because you're an idiot. You don't know anything about anything.
If you haven't seen a Star Trek movie, you're not going to know who this guy is.
Well, sorry. Most people have seen a Star Trek movie.
Most people have seen Star Trek.
Yes.
You're going to tell me, out of everybody in the world, most people have seen Star Trek.
I would think that if people are savvy enough to listen to a podcast with two assholes talking about Nicolas Cage, and they've given a shit and seen a Nicolas Cage movie in the last 10 years, then they've probably seen one of the frickin' Star Trek movies as well.
No,
or a movie starring Anton Yelchin.
Nope, he's not star. What movie did he star in?
Oh my god, you're gonna make me pull up Anton Yelchin and fucking give you a goddamn lesson, boy.
After this,
okay, baby girl, you sit down and I will give you a lesson. That's a dictionary.
Romania, and you get 4 minutes of Romanians speaking in Romanian, and you can't understand a goddamn word they're saying. And it's a car chase scene. I thought there would be subtitles. I was like, Brock, is it just on my end? Like, am I just not getting the subtitles? And you're like, nope, no subtitles on my end either. So we don't know what the fuck is happening for 4 minutes because we don't speak Romanian. What language did you learn to speak in that one movie?
Romanian.
Oh, it was Romanian, so you know how to say run.
Well, yeah, so if they would have ever told one of the people in this Romanian scene to run, I would have if they would have yelled Fugit, I would have been like, oh, got it. But they didn't yell Fugit.
There's a Romanian who has like a flash drive, and he drives to a bridge, and he's getting cornered, so he chucks the flash drive into a river, he jumps off and dies. Like, he jumps into the river and presumably dies. Somehow that flash drive gets back to Milt. And it's like, how did they get that flash drive, Brock? It's in a river. How'd they get it?
They found... Well, so that's one thing where it's like, just because he jumped in a river, he died?
Yeah, it wasn't that high. It was like 30 feet. It would be cold.
Yeah, but
it was winter.
He died, and somehow they fished this flash drive off of him.
And in the flash drive, the reason that the other agent brought it to Milt is because he said there's Decitabine. Decitabine? It's apparently like a drug for something. What? Why are you giving me that face?
Do you really
Why
think
are you giving
that...
me so many faces?
Okay, so you're not going to know who Anton Yelchin is, but I'm supposed to know what Decitabine is?
No, that's the problem with this movie!
You're trying to explain this to me like I'm supposed to just know this like rare anemia drug.
That's what they do in this movie. They just start talking about Decitabine, and you're like, what the hell? Like, I didn't even know if it was a drug or not. But somehow Milt has been looking for Decitabine, and we find out later it's because, like, the Arab guy who was beaten up, whose name is Banir. The Arab guy who was beating up Nic Cage is called Banir, and apparently Banir, this disease runs in his family, so Nic Cage has been on the lookout for this drug. Crazy, right? Because it could be anyone. Are you going to stop looking at your phone and talk here, or are we just going to...
Nah, I'm looking through Anton Yelchin's filmography. He's quite an accomplished actor for how young he was.
I looked through it because I want to know if I'd ever seen anything of his.
He was in Alpha Dog. He was in Charlie Bartlett. He was
Movie 43.
in Terminator Salvation. He played Kyle Reese. So there's another tie to Kyle Reese. He was in the movie Like Crazy.
Yep, everyone's seen that.
He was in the Smurfs. He was in the movie
Yep.
Fright Night. Brian,
Because everyone knows
he was
who
in the
someone is
movie
with
Odd
animated
Thomas. Brian, just because you've never seen any other movie in the world, aside from The Artist and Why Him, does not mean that other people outside of your bubble have not seen other movies. I'm just saying that other people will know the name Anton Yelchin.
Sounds good. All right. Are you going to help me with this podcast?
I guess. If you will agree that Anton Yelchin is an actor who's in this movie.
He is.
Okay.
Yep. He's
That's
an
all
actor
that's
in
all I
this
need
movie.
from you. You make me so angry sometimes. I'm going to just kiss you till you agree with me.
Now Nic Cage, his higher ups are like worried about him, and they're like, Nick, like you should retire or whatever. And
Well, so
Nic Cage.
First of all, Nicolas Cage goes to a doctor, an outside doctor, and the doctor says, "You have frontal temporal dementia." But
there was something before this.
Is there?
The reason that Nic Cage is hung up on Bonnier, like his higher ups say, Nick, we found the body, like he's dead. And Nic Cage goes, I'm not convinced that he's dead because they only found a body, no head.
Yeah.
And that's your evidence for why you think this guy's alive, because they couldn't find his head?
Well, yeah. So when it flashed back, like he was saved by like a couple Marines coming in, and like basically they blew out a wall and then saved Nick. And so like there was an explosion, but the explosion took off somebody's head, and they just assumed that guy was Bonnier.
This is where I get hung up on this movie. It's been 22 years. There was a body. Why? Like, it doesn't make sense that Nic Cage would connect the dots to say,
Oh, Nic Cage explains it later. He explains it very clearly later. He says...
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he does. He says, he's a true believer. He's one of those where he's not just going to go down without a fight. You have to rip his heart out and watch it beat, like, in your hands itself or something like that. So, that's all your proof. That's all your proof right there.
This is my problem. But yeah, he's got frontal temporal dementia.
Yes, which is not Alzheimer's, the doctor says.
No.
But it's much more aggressive than Alzheimer's. So it's going to kick in real quick.
His doctor calls him Rachowski, which I thought was weird. I was like, wait, is that continuity? I was like, why is he calling him Rachowski?
It's because he was giving a fake name.
Exactly.
So that he could hide it from the CIA, that he was going... that he's starting to lose his mind. So, the doctor says... My favorite line from this movie is, "You will be subject to inappropriate reactions or overreactions. Perhaps you've noticed this already." And I heard that, and I said, here we go.
They cast the right guy.
That is Nicolas Cage's License to Kill, baby. Because that's like, you just gave like a shopaholic... like a black card, and you left them alone in the Mall of America. Like, you just said, go for it, Nick. Like, just do what you do, baby. Hey, we're just gonna write this little line in here and explain it all away. Because, like, you can yell, you can scream, you can repeat yourself, you can have completely, like, inappropriate lines and ad-libs, and we're just gonna keep it in. We're gonna keep everything in.
I don't feel like he really went there that much, though, for having that explanation. Like, he could have... There's sometimes where it's just like, what the fuck are you doing, Nick? But it's explained right there.
Well, yeah, because this is a Castle movie, and he doesn't care. He just collected his $1 million paycheck, and he got out.
He goes home after this, pulls out a gun, presumably to commit suicide, and before he does it, isn't that what you got out of it?
I mean, kind of, but, like, also just... I let it go.
It was weird because then there's a picture of him and Bill Clinton that he like turns around almost like
because he doesn't want Bill to see.
Yeah, like when they're gonna when someone's gonna have sex and they're like, oh, let me turn this picture of my mom around or something. It's like, I don't want her to see. It's like,
be like, oh no, Nana.
And it's like, why? Like Bill Clinton. Okay, sure, I guess. Then he goes to a Ruby Tuesdays, but when Milt asks where he's at, he says Diamond Tuesdays.
Oh, well, that's the dementia for you. And look, everybody, dementia is a terrible disease, and so I don't want to make light of it. But this movie
doesn't deal with it.
Does not, treat dementia in the right way. And so Nick's form of dementia is like across the course of 5 days, and it just comes up in the weirdest ways, and it's
Yep.
like this. The scriptwriters got real lazy with like
Yep.
actually having this dementia show itself. I mean, in the limited amount of space, the 90 minutes that they had. So
then he asked like what town it's in, and Nic Cage had to look at the menu because again he didn't know. Milt finally gets there and tells the waitress to get him food because that's the first thing he thinks when he sees Nic Cage is just, oh, this man needs food. I don't know why.
Because otherwise he's at Ruby Tuesday just like sipping whiskey or something.
And then he tells her to take away the drink, and Nick rubs like his finger between his eyebrows and goes, "That's not very sociable." And that's from Deadfall. When he first meets the other guy in the food court, he goes, well, "That's not very sociable behavior." So he's like calling back to Deadfall.
I mean, yeah, his flashbacks are all kicking in.
Oh, that's a trope, by the way. We've had flashbacks. That's a trope.
Yeah, I checked it off. Flashbacks.
Okay. Then this part just, they try to explain the plot of this movie in this scene with Milt explaining how the flash drive is like related to Bannier and why it came to him, and it makes no goddamn sense. They're throwing out medical terms and shit, and you can't follow along with it.
Yeah, so essentially what I got out of it is Bannier is anemic, and so he has a rare blood disease that his father also had, and so they've been like tracking any medication that would be linked to this rare blood disease and like a certain combination of drugs, and they found it coming from Romania, and so this like middleman
Kenya?
Well, it's coming from Romania, but like this Kenyan guy who apparently jumped off the bridge was like the middleman for getting the drugs for Bannier, but now he's dead, so somehow they gotta find this Dr. Cornell who's been researching this and like manufacturing the drug or whatever.
And Nic Cage basically infers from whatever the fuck Milt said. He says that the disease has moved to an advanced state, and he goes, Bannier's got it. It's come out. It's in his blood. And like the whole time he says it, it's like side mouth, like Katie Holmes in Batman Begins. It's like from the side of his mouth, just yeah.
It's in his blood.
We go
and
back
he's
to
like
Romania.
really excited about it. He's smiling. He's very.
It's weird,
very
like side
chipper.
mouth happy. We cut back to Romania. Another 1 minute Romanian scene with no subtitles, so we don't know what the fuck is going on, except that Bannier is alive. That's what we see is Bannier is there.
Yeah, and he says some stuff and
We don't know.
to his guys, and it's.
Did he say Fugati?
He did not tell anybody to run. I don't know. Unless he's telling somebody to run, I'm not going to pick up on it. But I don't think he was speaking Romanian this time. He was speaking like Arabic, some Middle Eastern dialect.
The language they pick, it's not a real language. It sounds. There are some points where I heard an English word and
real language.
No, I think they made it up. I didn't think they took the time to study a new language. I think they just wrote some words and were like, yeah, that sounds good enough.
Sure. I mean,
No, I'm saying I know it's.
No, I
know it's a real language in real life. I'm just saying in this film, I don't think they took the time to actually learn it. Because I swear I heard some English words with just like an O added to it or something.
Dr. O. Dr.
Yeah.
O, anemia O, blood O.
Alright.
Feel bad O.
Nic Cage busts back into a meeting with his boss, and instead of saying like, hey, can I talk to you, says, sorry to impose our relationship.
Yeah.
Very weird. And they proceed, the higher-ups proceed to tell him, hey, we know you have this disease, like, we know you're using a fake name, like, you should really retire.
We found out.
And, and Nic Cage is just like, no, Bannier is out there, I know he's out there, blah, 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 and he's like, Bannier! Damn it!
Well, he like mumbles though, he's like, Bannier! Bannier! And then like, they're like, okay, dude, you gotta quit. And he's like, fuck you. And I was like, okay, so that's going to be something that I track in every movie too, though, is him, like, using the F word. Because I think he's done it in every single movie except for Left Behind.
Yeah.
But like, especially him telling something or somebody to fuck You.
Oh, that's because they said, like, he could become a liability to the agency. And he's like, fuck you. And they're like, calm down. And he's like, you guys fucked up Iran. You fucked up Ames. You fucked up 9/11. Fucked up weapons of mass destruction. Afghanistan. Iraq. And he's, like, going through all these things that he says that they fucked up. And it's just, he's way over the top for what they're asking of him. He has a disease.
Yeah.
He cannot remember things. He is blacking out. And instead, he's pissed at them for telling him, hey, you need to, like, take a step back.
Yeah, there's a scene where he's driving, like, earlier on in the movie, and, like, he almost swerves into oncoming traffic because he's having flashbacks and he, like, blacks out. So.
And at the end of it, he says, you've got your head so far up Obama's ass, you can't see anything but his shit anymore.
Shame on you. Shame on you. Yeah, I got that line written down.
Yeah, I told you. I had a lot of lines written down. I don't know. It doesn't seem like you have as many as me this time, so I was just going to throw it out there.
And that's why I was like, I don't know. He's probably beat me to it. But
sorry.
But no.
Well, we were there, and you weren't saying it, so I was just like, I'll take it.
So then he's packing up his desk, and they...
Well, he not willingly. Like, the police are coming in. Or the security.
Yeah, security's coming to escort him out, like, asking for his badge back or whatever, and he's flipping out. But then I have... the line where he says, get someone else to give your goddamn lecture. I resign. Or no, how does he do it? He says like,
cuffed.
I resign. And it's like, it kind of reminds me of the scene in The Office when Michael Scott is like broke and he like just yells, I declare bankruptcy. And it's just like, well, that's not how that works. But like with this here too, he's just like, I resign, and it's like, well, yeah.
And he was getting fired.
Yeah, I mean,
I love it. He's like hand in hand with these security guards who are like having to like force him out. He's just like, no, I resign. You can't fire me.
I resign.
Which is bad on his end because now he can't collect unemployment or whatever.
Well, exactly.
Or like, and if you get fired, you still get paid a little bit, but if you resign, you're done.
And that's what they ask. Or if you retire, like you could, I mean, you can collect your pension and everything. I don't know all the rules, but like,
just retire.
They asked him to retire. They said like, we're gonna give you a speech. We'll even have an audience there. Like, we'll roll you out on stage. You know, like. So instead,
cut back to his house.
He doesn't get to resign because they fired him.
Yeah,
and most people say quit. Why do they have to say anyway?
Yeah, that's semantics. Milt comes over, and Nic Cage has a drink in his hand. I found this very strange. He goes, hey, what are you drinking? Or
he says,
Nic Cage asks him,
want something to drink? What do you got? Sake.
Sake. He's drinking sake.
And then he says,
weird.
Sounds good. And I was like,
nope.
Does it?
It doesn't sound good.
Yeah, because people don't casually just drink sake at their house.
We used to go to this karaoke bar in Madison called the Karaoke Kid. And
oh, yeah.
Is it Asian themed or something?
Yeah.
Is it? Or we just would go there and we would get sake bombs. Where they put, like, the chopsticks over the glass that has the, like, energy drink below it. And you stomp on the table until the glass falls through and then you take the shot. Like, it doesn't taste that good. We just did it because it was fun.
Yeah, because it's a sake bomb and that's how you do sake bombs. But,
or if you go to Hibachi and they squirt it from the little man's, like, wiener and you gotta catch it in your mouth. Yeah. That doesn't taste good.
No, sake it's an acquired taste, but like, yeah, nobody's just gonna. Nobody that I have ever known or met is going to just have a bottle of sake like sitting around at home, especially when you're drinking by yourself, and then like somebody comes over and you just offer them like, oh yeah, well I got this, like.
No, they're gonna be drinking like whiskey, or rum, maybe vodka, maybe, but like sake was a weird. What?
Sake was a weird choice.
Yeah, we lingered on it for a while, but it was weird.
I was gonna say, like, I give this movie credit for kind of going against the cliche. So, because like anytime they could have taken the easy road of like I quit, they said I resign. Like instead of whiskey, it was sake. Like good for them. Good for them. I'm gonna give them a little bit of props on that.
This scene just further tries to explain how
thumb drives and computers work.
How what?
Thumb drives and computers work.
Yeah, Nic Cage doesn't like to read them on screen, though. Please print it out.
Please print it out.
But I don't understand, because at one point they say, okay, well, the doctor has a Kenyan wife. And Nic Cage says, how much does he charge? Milt says €10,000 every month. What is that?
research the disease and like provide the medicine for the Banir. Like he charges him $10,000 a month. Like so he gets $10,000 a month under the table.
What does it mean that he has a Kenyan wife? The doctor.
I don't know. Like I think it was something just that like they have the Kenyan wife, like they're holding her family hostage.
Brock, I don't understand this plot. Like, again, they try to explain it here. I didn't write anything down. All I wrote was, do their backs hurt from all this stretching? Because it's just like, what? They're making this connection, this connection, this connection. It's like, what are you... What?
Well, Kenyan
it's 22
wife,
years.
Kenyan,
Remind you, it's 22 years after this guy died.
Yeah, Kenyan wife, Kenyan guy jumped off a bridge. Kenya.
It cuts back.
Can you dig it? Can you make the connection?
Cuts back to Romania, and they speak English finally.
Well, at one point though, I want to say that Nic Cage is like staring at the computer or whatever, and he goes, "You think you can hide? Nobody can hide from the Reaper." And I'm like, is that your nickname? Like, it's very unenthusiastic because he's just like, "You think you can hide? Nobody can hide from the Reaper." And I'm like, Are you the Reaper? Am I the Reaper? Is Anton Yelchin the Reaper? Like, who's the Reaper? And then he also says, instead of Nigerian, he says Nigerian with the soft G, and that was kind of weird. And I'm like, what? Again, like, what is happening in this movie?
Okay, this is where Nic Cage... Because, so, now Milt says, like, why hasn't anyone heard from Banir in 20 years? And this is where Nic Cage says, I can explain. And I wrote this all down. So, did you write it all?
No.
Banir thought I had an asset in his group, a double.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he was trying to get me to give up. There was no fucking asset. And they said some other things. After the extraction, I sent documents hinting that Banir was the double. If he was still alive, I wanted him off the playing field. I drove him into the ground. And it's like, why would you do that, though? Because now people can't help you find him. If you truly thought he was alive, why would you try to drive him into the ground so that no one can help you for 22 years?
Because he's bad at his job. That's why he's working a desk.
This was 22 years ago that he did this. This was before his disease. This was before anything. And it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, a lot of stuff has probably happened in those 22 years. We found out that he was a Marine and then for 6 years and that he was working CIA for 30. So, I don't know. But like then he's been working a desk job for like the last 6. So timelines are all wonky.
Weird.
But
this is where also Nic Cage says about having to rip out his heart. And then Milt just jokingly is like, you've been giving this an awful lot of thought, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
Nick, just once a day. Milt, every day. Nick, all day long.
Yeah. Or he gets like, I don't know if I can do his laugh. It's like,
all day long.
Yeah, it's like very like, it's like a coffee laugh, but.
You've been giving this a lot of thought, haven't you?
Just once a day.
Every day.
All day long.
Milt has this look on his face just like, ooh, am I making a mistake here?
Yeah.
At least that's what I would be thinking.
Let's get to it. Let's get to Romania. So they fudge a couple documents, blah, 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 blah. Nick says, I'm going to go to Romania to track down this Dr. Cornell. And Anton Yelchin, Milton says, yeah, I'm coming with. And so they get there, basically.
But the person that they're meeting with, somehow Nic Cage has someone in Romania that he knows who ends up being his former lover, we find out.
Yeah, like an old contact named Michelle something. Michelle. So here's where I was like, okay, so this is his Castle period. And a lot of his Castle period movies take place in Romania. Eastern Europe, Romania.
Romania
this one
is real close to Eastern Europe.
Romania. I'm fairly certain that like that one crappy movie, The Humanity Bureau, was probably supposed to be America, but was probably shot in Romania. Like, is one of his castles in Romania?
I was just gonna say, are his castles in
I think
Eastern Europe?
one of his castles. We should really research this and find out if one of his castles is in Romania, so that he can just like walk out his front door and start shooting.
You know what I feel a little bad about is the last movie when we were trying to describe what Judge Reinhold wore to that bachelor party, and we said it was like a Russian hat. It was more like an Arab hat because it was that red one with the fez in the middle. That's like an Arab thing.
I think it's
'Cause
just
now-
called a fez.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is that it's something like that? But in this movie, he will wear like a more Russian hat later.
Time to hear
so
a couple
they're-
clicks in the background because Brock is going to do some research.
They meet with the reporter Michelle.
It's like Moroccan.
Okay. They meet with Michelle at a restaurant. Nic Cage pulls out a cig, starts smoking. The guy comes over, like the waiter is like, "Hey, sorry, this is a non-smoking restaurant." Nic Cage gets way too defensive. We're in fucking Romania. You can smoke anywhere.
So he says, "I'm in
Way
Romania.
too
Are you
defensive.
fucking kidding me? This whole country is a smoking section." Which the waiter was just like, "No, like, but we have like an actual smoking section upstairs, bud."
Yeah, that's all he said. So he puts it out in some dates. Or no, wait, he puts it out in his water.
this
Later he'll
time.
put it out in dates.
Yeah. He likes to smoke occasionally. I don't know if like that helps with his condition or what. Maybe it steadies his hand. But yeah, so hey guys, you remember that whole line about you will be subject to inappropriate reactions or overreactions? Wink wink. Like,
And later, like, they talk some bullshit, find out Michelle knows the doctor or whatever, so they're going to meet with him in his office. And then there's some weird chemistry going on between Nick and Michelle to the point where Milt is just like, "Okay, I'll leave you to it." And Nic Cage just, like, goes over the table the long way and just lays a sloppy kiss right on Michelle out of nowhere.
after Milton leaves, because Anton Yelchin does a fantastic job in this movie. He's a great young actor. Gone too soon. R.I.P. D.
He did pretty good. So they meet with the doctor, and
Well,
we have an interest in this person, Abdi Abdikarim. And Nic Cage goes, "What kind of name is that anyway?"
yeah.
Nick,
Which is like,
it's like it's a Middle Eastern name.
Yeah.
Why are you saying
is
that?
this some weird like racist like thing that are you like trying to like race bait this doctor?
We have an interest
what is
in this
happening?
person, Abdi Abdikarim. What kind of name is that anyway?
What kind of name is
Nick.
that anyway? But if you say it in like Nic Cage's voice, it just sounds so much worse than like.
And I think
What kind
Nic
of
Cage-
name is that anyway?
Nic Cage
I
the
can't
person,
do my
the
Nic Cage is
actor,
off today.
I think Nic Cage, the person, really wanted to know that. I don't think that was like written in the line. I think he just really was like, "Wait, what kind of name is that anyway?" Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't know. He doesn't know things.
Yeah, the script is a little funny. I'm curious.
So at one point, Nic Cage says to the doctor Cornell, 20,000 euros every 2 months. Does that sound about right? And all of a sudden, everyone just shuts up and they look at Nick out of nowhere. Like nothing
Yeah,
would
because his
signal
dementia
that
kicks
people.
in. So I'm assuming like this.
How did they
got
know?
Edited really freaking weirdly.
Everyone stops and stares at Nick, and then after several seconds, like way too long, he like starts to laugh and rubs between his eyebrows again and mumbles, "Cornish,
Cornish. Cornell.
Cornish, Cornell, Dr. Cornell." And it's, I mean, that one's actually a little more understandable. I guess he's like having trouble with names.
Yeah,
But
associating, Diamond Tuesday, Cornish, Cornell. We get it.
fine. But it was weird editing because it was out of nowhere. Like he
Yes.
asked a question, and they all just stare at him.
Yeah, he asked a legitimate question. $20,000 every 2 months. Now, maybe it's because he didn't say $10,000 every month. Like,
Maybe.
So because he did a little extrapolation on the math, everybody's like, oh, math. Like, that's a key sign of you losing your mind.
Yeah, and Cornell says he has to do it because the Arab man, he calls him an Arab, I think. He says,
Yeah.
the Arab said he was going to kill my family because my wife is Kenyan. And it's like, what does that mean?
Well,
Why
he's
does it
gonna-
matter that his wife is Kenyan?
Well, at some point, though, when Banir is talking to his associate, like his henchman, he tells him, like, hey, we kind of skipped this part, but like he tells his henchman, like, hey, shave your beard, go to Romania and try to get this doctor to come here to me. And so he's like, you got a visa, do you got like you speak English, right? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, okay, cool, shave your beard, act European for a little bit, and try to get this doctor to come with me. And so like this guy is in Romania. We forgot to mention. I didn't ever catch his name throughout this movie. I think they mention it like once.
Asim.
But yeah, so there is like another Arab man here.
Yeah. And so now...
was
there more?
Sorry, but then Banir does say, like, yeah, you know... And so the heir, Asim says, well, what happens if he doesn't want to come with me? And Banir says, well, tell him that, like, we will kill his wife's entire family. See how that works. So
it works, apparently.
Yes. And Cornell is
Now-
willing to help for a little bit extra money.
Now it cuts
apparently a
back
big
to
deal.
Nick Cage's hotel room with Milt walks in, can't find him. All his clothes are folded up, everything, can't find him. He walks down to the bellhop. What?
But before that, what does that camera linger on? Sitting in the bottom of that
wallet?
wastebasket.
Oh, the pills.
Yes, a bottle of pills. But you know what's noticeably absent? Any water or glasses.
Yeah.
So, I'm just going to say right here, right now, we never see Nick Cage raw dog any pills, but he has a sickness, so we know that he's taking medication for it. And we don't see any evidence of water. So while we don't see him take any pills, we know for a fact that he raw dogs pills in this movie.
But he does drink a lot of liquor. Could it be possible he's popping pills with his liquor?
We don't see it. I don't
We see him drinking liquor, though. I don't know. That's quite you're inferring a lot here.
I am going to infer from the empty bottle of pills in the wastebasket and the lack of any liquid in the hotel room that we are shown that Nicolas Cage was raw dogging pills and then went for a walk.
Give it a half point. Okay, not a full point, half point.
Okay.
But Milt walks down to the bellhop, and like there's just music playing. You don't hear any audio of them talking. He walks over to the bellhop, holds up his hand to about shoulder height, and all of a sudden the bellhop is just like, oh yeah, points, and he knows where it's at. Nick Cage is not up to his shoulders. I was like, what? The bellhop knows where he's at just because he pointed up to his shoulders.
Famous actor Anton Yelchin is a pretty small guy.
Nick is on a bench wearing a weird hat trying to count, or like saying numbers, 25, 38, 17. And
Anton finds him because he's a pretty good tracker. Like, Anton is a pretty good agent.
Nick Cage was sitting across the street.
Yeah.
In a park.
Yeah. On the bench by himself.
Milt sits down next to him. Nick Cage has the weirdest face weirdest expression on his face. Like, mouth is kind of a gap, eyes open. He slowly turns and looks at Milt. Takes, like, his fingers, touches Milt's shoulder, and just, like, looks at him. Like, it's almost like he's on LSD or something. It's just, like, there's rainbows on his fingers when he touches his jacket or something. It was really weird. I know it's dementia, but...
Oddly specific, coming from experience. You tripping on some LSD when I don't know about it without me?
From Tenacious D.
What the hell, man?
From Tenacious... But...
Just saying, I'd like to be invited to your LSD parties.
After Nick Cage being really weird, touching his shoulder weirdly, Milt just goes, you should get some sleep. You'll be fine in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's how dementia works, right? You just go to sleep. You'll be fine in the morning.
Yeah. Well, Nick Cage explains that he's starting to experience a phenomenon known as sundowning. And I've heard of this in, like, a couple different movies. And it's a real thing. Like, if you have dementia or some, like, kind of, neuromental disease, you experience sundowning. So during the nighttime, like, you act irrationally and you go for, like, walks and you kind of, forget where you are and all that. But again, like, the way that this movie is just like, and so you have dementia, so you're going to forget something and you're going to forget your keys and you're going to be sundowning this night. And, like, next night you're gonna, start, like, drooling. It's just like, what? Like, you're just trying to, like, play the greatest hits back to back to back to back to back over the course of, like, 5 days.
Why is Milt with this man? Clearly he is not mentally stable for this huge mission that they have going on. Why is Milt still there?
Because
makes no sense.
They're friends, man.
They weren't friends before this. They were, like, acquaintances at best. Anyway, cuts back to Dr. Cornell.
Super good friends.
Handing off the money to Asim. Brock, you're Nick Cage and you're Milt. And you want to be close by when they're handing off...
super cool secret CIA agents that are, like, super good at your jobs.
Yeah. How would you be acting if you were getting ready for someone to hand off money?
Doing, like, a covert mission?
Yeah.
I would
you
probably
stare.
I would probably sit on a bench and then just stare. And just like both of us turned, pivoted in that direction and just stare and like be watching and never look away. Never break eye contact and invite like this Asim guy to just make eye contact with me and never look away.
They're even sitting across the table, so the one guy has to like turn his back to be staring at them the whole time. Stop! Nic Cage should be looking out the corner of his eye while they're carrying on a conversation. No, they're just staring at him.
Apparently, he needs to watch more CIA movies where like they at least have like a paper, like a newspaper, even with eye holes cut out, because like that would be less obvious than what they do. So yes, so Asim is looking around, and eventually like he makes like barrels the camera because that's like the perspective of Nicolas Cage. So then at that point, like Anton's like, oh, he's seen us, and it's like. Well, yeah, because you're the only two people in this crowd that are staring at this guy.
And Asim was just kind of scanning the crowd. It was believable. He's just kind of like, okay, we're making a deal. Let me just look around. And yeah, then he sees these two white folks just staring at him. Yeah, he's going to be suspicious.
Yeah, including Nic Cage's hat, which is pretty conspicuous. So the hat that Nicolas Cage has, to describe it, it is like kind of like this one is a Russian hat. So this is actually kind of like a fez, but like it is a like barrel hat that's like not fur, even fur.
Right?
It looks like hair. It's like weird
faux fur,
curly, like furry hair that is about like a foot and a half tall up above his head, and so like it stands out. It stands out.
Hey, is someone talking on one of our ends? Is that someone talking on your end or my end?
That might have been my stomach.
Is it really?
That might have been. Like that like weird little whine?
Yeah.
That might have been my stomach, man. I haven't eaten lunch yet. We said it might come up.
Okay, sorry.
So it was like
Leah's been more and more convinced that her house is haunted, so I was like, wait, is this the haunting? Are they coming out in the middle of the day now?
Oh. Because but explain this, because I know it's not it's not our weekly like bag on Leah time. But explain how your wife is convinced that your house is haunted, but only when you're not there.
Yes, only when I'm not here. I was out of town. I was at your bachelor party, and she sends me a Snapchat of our dog. And we have like a bed with a mirror.
A new puppy.
Like on a dresser.
A new dog.
Yeah, it's a new puppy.
Yeah.
Newish puppy, a month old, or a month that we've had him. And we have like a mirror on a dresser at the foot of our bed. Well, the dog hops up on our bed and just stares at himself in the mirror. Okay, fine, he's just staring at himself. Leah takes it as a sign that our house is haunted and he sees a ghost in the mirror or something. Later...
I mean, if your house is haunted, that is how you're going to find out.
Later, a few weeks ago... Oh, well, because she said that he would kind of growl sometimes, too. A couple weeks ago, I was in Wisconsin Dells for a business trip. I told you that's where the Charlie Day girl wanted to, like, get my voice. And she sent me a text saying, Brian, there's, like, owl noises coming from our kitchen. And Ranger is growling at it. And then the next night they were outside our window. So we have like a haunted owl that's haunting our house.
Ah.
Yeah.
Or it's just like a ghost who's like coming around and be like, oh.
And
or maybe
I've
it's like the
never heard
ghost
the
of
owl.
Christmas past. Trying to go like, oh.
I've never heard the owl. The other night we were here and she said it was at like 12:30. She heard it while I was in bed with her. And she said she didn't wake me up because she didn't want me to like lose sleep. And I was like, no, wake me up! I want to hear this mother effer.
Yeah, you need evidence that this house is haunted because you've not seen anything that would like lead you to believe yourself.
So the owl's here while I'm here.
Her.
She heard it while I was in bed with her.
I don't know. We'll get to the bottom of this. We'll
keep you updated.
When I lived back in Wisconsin, I had a squirrel in like our like roof attic rafters, and we knew it was a squirrel. Never thought that it was haunted. Just knew it was a squirrel that like had somehow gotten up there because it would like scurry across the roof. Scared the crap out of us. But like it was definitely a squirrel. Oh, I'm sorry. Where were we in this thing?
Okay, so they chase after Asim, and he's
Speaking
a
of
slippery
squirrels,
guy. He is a slippery guy.
Yeah. So
Milt catches up several times,
Yeah.
but Milt or
and
Asim
like
just
has
gets away.
him with like within his grasp, or like has like a hand on him, and then he just like turns the corner and goes away. It really reminds me of the one time where you and I got in a fight, and you booked it from me, and I went chasing after you. We lived in an
Down the
apartment at the
stairs.
time.
I hurt
down
my
the
knee.
stairs, and
I have a bad knee, and I hurt my knee from stomping through a door.
Yeah.
And, like, it went out on me, so that got me even more mad. I was like, fuck, my knee,
So
ow!
we're going down these stairs, and we lived on like the 4th floor, I think. And so we go down like 3 flights of stairs. I get to like the very last landing, and I'm trying to chase Brian because he's trying to get away. And I had him like by the collar of the shirt on the last flight, and on like the second to last step, my foot catches the edge of the step, and my ankle rolls, and I went like barreling into like the wall, and he slipped my grasp. And so that's this scene basically is like every time you think Anton Yelchin has this guy, he just slips away. And I really felt for Anton.
What was that noise now? Was that your belly again?
No, that was just a chair.
Oh, okay. But to be clear, we had been drinking, so this wasn't like
Yes.
just two sober friends. Like
Yeah.
there was alcohol involved.
So he screwed up
But
his
anyway,
knee, I screwed up my ankle. It was a whole to-do. And he got away.
Milt finally catches Asim, slits his throat, throws him in between
so
a couple
finally
dumpsters.
catches up to him, and then like Asim tries to shoot him. He knocks the gun away, pulls out a knife and slits his throat, which like happened real quick for me.
Now that he's dead, he shoved him in between two dumpsters. It cuts back to Nick talking to Dr. Cornell, asks for his passport and all his documentation, and Nick Cage goes, "Nothing's going to happen to you or your people." And I was like, you know what? That's kind of racist, man.
Well,
You know he has a Kenyan wife.
just like I think that was more to like for the audience than for like Dr. Cornell. It was more just
I
like,
know.
hey, he's not gonna show up anymore in this movie, so like don't worry about him.
I'm being a bit, like, cinema sinsy here. Like,
Well, yeah.
that's racist.
I mean,
Your people.
you and your people.
Now Nick Cage and, first of all, oh wait, no, this is a little later. Nick Cage and Milt are in a room, and they have a phone number. And Milt goes, hey, what's that phone number again? And they
And then they
say
have to read it off.
254-4183-45571. And I was like, how many numbers? Like,
International phone
That's a
numbers
lot of
don't
numbers.
just have 10 numbers.
that's a lot of numbers,
You know
man.
that, right?
Whatever, man. And it's apparently from Mombasa, and Nick Cage goes,
Mombasa.
That's the asshole of East Africa.
Yes. Just like your favorite state, Florida, is the asshole of America.
It's not my favorite state.
You guys, Brian loves Florida so much.
I don't know why you say this.
Anytime you like,
like pissing
he
me
wants
off
to
at
take
this point.
vacation. He loves going to Florida. He wants to go to Florida all the time. He almost moved to Florida at one point to teach. Like, he just loves Florida, and I don't get it. Because personally, I think Florida is the asshole of America.
I don't want to move there.
But he loves Florida. Sorry if any of our listeners are from Florida, but it is the armpit and asshole of America. And
Nick
the Wayne.
Cage. What's the girl's name again? Michelle brings in a guy who works on movies, an artist. What am I trying to say here?
A makeup artist.
Makeup artist. There it is.
Favorite
And they
character
get
in the entire movie. Don't know his name.
Yeah.
Favorite character. He was fabulous.
You love the gay people.
I love the side characters. Oh yeah,
because
he was the Joey.
Todd-
He was the Joey Pants of
the
this
Joey
movie.
Pants.
Oh
Yeah.
Man,
And,
I long for Joey Pants. I would have
put-
liked a little Joey Pants in this movie. He could have
You
spiced
got
it
it
up.
with him. He's a little Joey Pantsy.
He's a little Joey Pantsy.
He puts a fake goatee beard on him so he looks more like Cornell, and his eyes don't match Cornell. So the guy's like, "Hey, you should wear contact lenses." And Nick Cage, I don't want to wear contact
He has
lenses.
a
I don't know why.
strict no contacts rule. But there's
they put on-
something with Nick Cage's eyes in this movie because like he can't read on the screen. He wants it printed out. He doesn't want contacts. Like
I wonder if this is just really Nick Cage, like getting old and not wanting. Like his eyes are getting bad, and he just doesn't want to deal with that shit. So he's just like, "No, I'm not going to put in contacts." So they
Yeah.
had to like work around it and be like, "Oh, here's some tinted glasses." That's good enough.
absolutely. This is just him like on his rider, just being like, "I don't do contacts. I don't do computers."
So then Nick Cage meets with Benir's men, and he doesn't remember that he wrote down, he doesn't know. He's sitting here questioning them, and they're like, "You wrote that down. Like,
Yeah.
you know where you're meeting
Like, you
him.
already
You
asked
know
all these
this. You know
questions."
that." And his accent is not very good.
He keeps
And
like
you mean to
taking the
tell me-
beard on and off, which is like, why? Like, just leave it.
Just
on.
keep it on. But when he's talking to Benir's people, the accent fades in and out. He doesn't know his notes, and these people aren't at all concerned about this. They're not like, this guy, like, is he an imposter? Nope.
Yeah,
They just
at
take him
first,
to Benir.
like, I'm thinking that, like, okay, so they're going to figure it out right away, that, like, he's not this doctor, and, like, they're going to actually be setting him up the whole time. Because, basically, like, he arranges a meeting to meet with Benir, and they give him, like, a drink right away, which he takes, which I was like, that's not smart. And so at one point, like, he starts getting real, like, again, dementia-y and, like, fuzzy and whatnot. Now, first,
Wait, are you at Benir's house already?
yeah. Well, I thought, like, he was... because you go to the doctor's office? Yeah.
I was just going to mention a couple things before we get there.
Well...
So, he picks a date and time to meet with Benir's people.
Yeah, he's being
and
very
then
not careful.
No, but he goes back to his hotel room and Googles thalassemia, looks at a Wikipedia page, and apparently that's enough for him to know enough to, like, sound legit. He just went on Wikipedia and was like, okay, now I can talk to them.
I had no idea what he Googled. I just saw that he had Google up, and I was like, okay. You're just showing him doing, like, his search.
Then,
I hope he printed it out.
Milt had been buying guns in the black market. They're walking down the stairs.
For no
and
reason.
Nick Cage,
There's this scene
Nick
of,
Cage,
like, him getting... haggling over the price of 2 guns. For minutes, guys. It's not just, hey... I want 2 guns. Okay, cool. Give me money. But it's him going back and forth on the price and offering like 6 different versions of the price until one of them stuck.
Milt can't tell Nick Cage about this in the hotel room. He's got to wait till they're in public walking down the stairs. But at the bottom of the stairs is a plant. And Nick Cage just walks up to it and takes a big sniff of the plant. For no reason. Well, it's his dementia, I guess.
It's also because Nick
outside,
Cage's sensory... what did it say? I'm sorry, I have a note.
Because he said when he rubbed on Milt's jacket, it felt like dog fur.
He also has unreliable sensory perception. That was in addition to his subject to inappropriate reactions or overreactions, was unreliable sensory perception.
Before Nick Cage heads off to Benir's, Milt wants him to take this little, like, it looks like a fob, and it sounds really helpful. It would allow Milt to hear Nick Cage. It would allow them to have GPS. Sounds really helpful. It's super tiny. It's like a fob. Nick Cage says, no, I can't take that. That'd be too obvious. All I can take is my belt blade.
Yeah, and all they've done is pat him down. Like, they don't have scanners. They don't have, like, wands or anything.
But when I heard belt blade, I was like, holy, he can bring a whole blade, but he can't bring this little fob?
Yeah.
And we find out later what a belt blade is. It's actually, like, the belt buckle
that,
like, has a little knife
like
on
sheath
it that, like, kind of hides inside the belt itself.
Yeah. That's all.
It's only, like,
that's all he can get past
3
this guy's pat down. And I'm like, the pat down isn't that thorough.
So now we're at Benir's.
Yeah. So now we're at Benir's. And so, again, he's offered a drink, and he takes it right away. And I'm thinking, okay, that could potentially be drugged. Like, again... You start thinking that this movie could be more sophisticated than it is, and you start thinking, like, well, is this a setup from Benir to get Nick Cage back this whole time? Like, has this just been some sort of, like, weird setup? And Benir's very sick. Again, he's anemic. He can barely stand. He's, like, hobbling around. He has his henchmen do everything for him.
Not sick enough to almost kill that one guy when he came over by him.
Yeah.
Knocked him down in his lap, almost killed him.
And Bowie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so... The thing is, they're starting to kind of wonder what's happened to Asim, the other Arab guy that he sent to Romania, because they haven't heard from him. Well, because he died. And so he starts getting suspicious of Mbui, one of the Kenyan guys that he has. And he's thinking, you know, if there's a rat in my operation, I want to know who it is. Is it you, Mbui? And Mbui's like, no. And... So yeah, so that scene kind of just fades away, and he becomes super trusting again.
Yep,
he's super excited to meet this doctor.
Is Mbui or whatever the guy that Nick Cage pulls into the bathroom?
Yes.
So when Nick Cage is there, he realizes, okay, I can't take out Benir while this Mbui guy is here. He excuses himself to go to the bathroom, says it's not working. Mbui comes in there with him, and Nick Cage just knocks him out with a haymaker.
Just another one punch. Just another one punch.
He's out. He locks him in the bathroom, comes out by Benir, and
100% of the
scene
time
was
it works.
really weird.
Every time.
This scene was weird. Bannier just starts talking, and I don't know. He's talking about like pop culture. He knows about U.S. culture. He mentions pop music. This is where he says, Nic Cage goes, "Baby, it's cold outside."
Well, so they were talking about
This
Colorado.
Scene is weird.
And without subtitles myself, and without like any sort of context, there's no context. There's no background to this. I do not know exactly what they were talking about, but at one point he says something about going to college in Colorado, which is maybe where Nic Cage's character went to college, or maybe where this Bannier went to college. And so maybe he did like a study abroad, or like his dad or something. But I thought that that's what Nic Cage was referring to when he said it was cold outside, like in Colorado.
Nope, because the guy's talking about knowing U.S. culture.
Something about Greeley, Colorado, or
I know pop music, and that's where Nic Cage goes, "Baby, it's cold outside." I don't know. I like that you have subtitles on and I don't, because then you can't hear what's going on in the scene because Nic Cage's dementia is kicking in while Bannier is saying all this. So there's like weird music and the screen is blurry.
It's starting to flash back to the interrogation, so it's flashing back and forth, and Nic Cage starts going into like his lines from the interrogation, saying again like, "I'm Michael Wachowski."
No, but then in the flashbacks, Bannier was calling him Lake. Was that just in like Nic Cage's head? He was starting to like...
No, he was saying like, "Hey, Mr. Lake," in the scene, because like he knew who he was.
Okay, so that was in the present, but Nic Cage was almost like hearing it in the past in his head.
Yeah,
okay.
Because he keeps flashing back between young Bannier and old Bannier, and I don't know.
Okay, hold on. Before Bannier starts rambling, Nic Cage like comes out after not locking the guy in the bathroom and just starts unbelting, like opening up his pants, like unbelting. And in my head, I'm just like, is Bannier gonna say something? Like, is Nic Cage getting ready to? Like in my head, I'd be like, is this guy like taking his pants off? What is going on? Doesn't even get brought up.
I got the cure for you, and it's right here. Just
after Banier's rambling and Nic Cage bouncing in and out from the past and present, he doesn't kill him. He buttons back up, like he just got done having sex, buttons back up, and leaves.
Well, so, yeah, there's a couple lines from this whole scene. Like, at one point, Nic Cage says, I like the fear. And he says something like, "Does any of it matter? What you did? You!" and then Bannier says, like, "Oh, you're sick, too." And he says, "Yeah, your disease is in the blood. Mine is in the brain." And then gets up and leaves. And it's just like, oh, okay.
Milt finds Nic Cage.
Like, assuming, like, he's just going to leave him there to die. Because, like, he doesn't have his medication anymore. He's super sick, and now he doesn't have henchmen? Except that guy's knocked out, so he'll be...
But yet, back in the U.S., when he was talking to his higher-ups, they suggested, well, he's going to die.
Yeah.
Like, why not just let him die? And Nic Cage said, no, that's not good enough. And yet, now that he's there, apparently that's good enough.
Yeah. And he wouldn't take a gun. And he was trying to discuss before to Milton, like, how are you going to kill him? And he was like, I got a syringe, or, like, I'll just use my blade, I guess.
And Milt tells him that he got a Glock, and a little bit later, Nick goes, Croc is gun. Because he forgot the word Glock.
Yep.
Okay, but now Milt finds Nic Cage walking down the street, and Nic Cage, like, leans down to the window and says, like, mole or something. He's like, mole? And, he just hops in, and then what happens? Oh, now they're back at the hotel, and for some reason, they're going to go on a walk, and now Nic Cage decides to grab a gun.
By the pool, full of a bunch of, like, white women in bikinis.
And Nic Cage, at this time, finally decides
where
he needs
are
a gun.
they at this point? They're in Mombasa, the asshole of East Africa?
Yeah. Looked kind of nice.
It looked really nice. I mean, it looked like a nice resort.
Nic Cage hasn't carried a gun this entire time. Chekhov's gun right here. Decides to put a gun in his back pocket here as they walk down by the pool. And sure enough, people open fire on him. Shoots Milt. I thought Milt died.
A bunch of people get shot at this pool.
Yeah.
A bunch of like random bystanders get like lit up from submachine guns and...
Yeah, there's a machine gun. And the guy can't hit Nic Cage because they never can. Nic Cage is shooting wildly at him. The guy grabs this like brunette woman that's walking by, grabs her by the hair, and like pulls her in front of him as a shield.
And I'm like, oh, she's gonna die, and this is gonna be kind of upsetting to me. But then he just like kind of hides behind her for a little bit and then lets her go. So
do you think that was in the script? I think that was just an extra and he just did it.
maybe. I mean, it worked.
And Nic Cage catches up to him, shoots him, kills him. His gun has got the most bullets out of any gun I've ever seen in my life.
Ever. And most accurate, like heat seeker bullets.
After these guys are here, Nic Cage decides, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going back to Banir, and I'm going to kill him. And he walks into his house and says, Salam alaikum, asshole.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam alaikum. Okay, hello?
No, it's like go with God.
Yeah, what is it?
Go with Assalamu alaikum?
Asshole. That's what he says when he walks in.
Because I think he'd said it before when he was still pretending to be Dr. Cornell.
He did. And my question in this scene is, where's Banir's guy, that Zimbabwe guy?
Mbui?
Like, you can't tell me he didn't get out of the bathroom in all this
time.
No,
I think Mbui like found them at the pool. I think Mbui was one of the guys that they killed at the pool.
Oh. So now
Banir's just alone.
Fighting.
Like he's got no more guys left.
Now they start fighting, fisticuffs, hand to hand. Banir just bites the shit out of
Yeah, there's another bite scene, and I'm like, oh, okay. That's another carryover.
And Nic Cage gets him on the ground, like cuts him with the knife, and then sticks his index finger in the guy's eye, and we get a close-up shot of it, and it's disgusting.
And the sound.
It's disgusting.
The sound work.
Oh my god.
I don't know what they had to like actually insert what into what to get that sound for like the Foley work on this, the Foley work. But it's great.
It's like Play-Doh in the
It's not Play-Doh. That was mushier than Play-Doh. It was like a hammer and a grapefruit. It was like,
but it was disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't know what was happening because I was sitting a little bit far away from the screen, but like I just saw something go into, and I was like, so did he stab a knife in his eye? And then I look at him like pull his finger out slowly and just like look at it covered in like goo and blood, and I'm like, oh, so that's what's happening.
How hard is it to stab an eye? I wonder. Like I feel like it's pretty hard. I feel like it would hurt your finger. Like could it break? I
mean,
I don't know.
The eye cavity behind, I don't know.
Nic Cage,
truthfully, Brian,
leaves.
This is one thing that I am not an expert in. I will be an expert in Aaron Neville and Anton Yelchin, and I will not be an expert in eye gouging.
Let's finish this off. This lasted way too long. Nic Cage leaves, gets in a vehicle, starts driving. There's like dump trucks passing by.
Yep.
Earlier in the film, we had been told he can't drive, so Milt had to drive him around because he kept blacking out while he was driving.
Yeah, now look, I was looking
first
down and writing a note. And so then
he runs headfirst into a dump truck and dies.
Yeah, so
he
essentially
dies.
He's like blinking, and then and then you see him like hands on the wheel, and then hand like just like cranks left or right or whatever direction because they're driving on the opposite side of the road. So he dies. We see his headstone with his name on it. We see Anton Yelchin get like his stuff, and then we see Anton Yelchin giving like the keychain with a bullet on it like to Michelle.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that. Who cares?
But like pointless. He is definitely dead. So yes, he dies.
How many movies is this now that he's died?
Everyone but 2, and we are on 8. So he's died in 6.
So that's 6 out of 8,
right? Okay, let's run him back. He's died in Die of Light. He did not die in Zandali. Was he dead in Ghost Rider? So undead? Undead?
Sure, we'll call it. He's undead.
Okay. Arsenal, he died. Humanity Bureau, he died. Wicker Man, he died. Deadfall, he died. Left Behind, he did not die. So he did not die in Left Behind or Zandali. And that's it.
Okay. So, what's your Pete Cage moment in this film?
My Pete Cage moment in this film was...
God, it's tough in this film. Do I have one ready?
My Pete Cage was the... Fuck you. Fuck you! You got your head so far up Obama's ass, you can't see anything but his shit anymore! Shame on you!
That's a good one.
Shame on you!
I've seen a million people like you. A million people. You got your head so far up Obama's ass, you can't see anything except his shit anymore. Shame on you. Shame on you.
That's a good one. Mine has to be the dictionary part. Just... He's so heavy-handed in that scene.
Oh, yeah.
The dictionary, the orange book over there.
Hey, put that dictionary on my hand. It's that book over there, the orange one. It's a dictionary.
I know what a dictionary is, thank you.
Oh, so the reason that I don't even know if we talked about the reason that he wanted the dictionary was so that he could put it on top of his hand.
Yeah, I did.
And then say, "There's two types of people in this world: men of action, and everyone else." And then he snatches it off the top of his hand. And I was like, "That's the two types of people line that you're gonna give here: men of action and everyone else." There's two types of people in this world: people who can count, people who can't count, and everyone else.
I like the one about binary. There's two kinds of people in this world: those who know binary. I don't remember how it goes.
Oh, about halfway through that, where you're just like, "Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!" Oh shit.
I was like, "Wait, how does this go again? 1 and 0?" I don't know. What were some other tropes? Did we knock them out already?
Well, I crossed the ones that I got out. So flashbacks.
Yep.
Use of the F word is specifically telling something or someone to fuck you. I'm gonna start tracking that one.
Yep.
He raw dogs pills. He does.
Half a point.
Half a point. We are heavily led to infer that he raw dogs pills. He has a laugh. He does the mumble and the yell. He repeats. And he dies. The ones that we didn't get were any sunglasses, as far as I know.
Nope.
And I'm fairly certain we didn't see any taco meat. He keeps it
No, I
pretty
don't think
buttoned
so.
up this whole time.
I cannot believe we talked about a $6,000 grossing movie for an hour and 20 minutes.
I mean, I
But
think
there's
there was
so-
about a 5-minute,
What-
just me shouting at you about Anton Yelchin.
What is he a good actor in this film?
Anton Yelchin was fantastic.
No, Nic Cage.
Nick Cage. No, this is Castle period Nick Cage. And Castle Nick Cage is not a good actor. You cannot convince me that Nick Cage is $1 million actor. And
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm giving this one a 2 out of 10. I hated this movie. It made no sense to me.
Sorry, you're gonna hear.
I guess that Milt guy was fine actor, but like
Anton Yelchin.
The way they dealt with the dementia was terrible. The plot made no sense. Like, I just hated it.
By the end of
I
this
did not
podcast,
like this at all.
you are going to know the name Anton Yelchin, you son of a bitch.
Okay, so we are currently both at 0 out of 8.
Do you want to know how many stars I
actor.
gave Humanity Bureau?
How many?
1. 1 star out of 10.
I think I gave that one a 3.
And it is 6.6. How? Because it has 3,633 reviews.
No, because there's people that are just spamming 10s at it. That's why I said 68% are 10.
Yeah.
Typically, you'll see like 12% are 10s
Yeah,
or whatever.
there's
People
some weird like trolling
yeah.
initiatives out there. Like, apparently, a movie that I am excited about, Black Panther, is coming out, and there's like this whole like army of DC like Justice League fans who are trying to like tank it on Rotten Tomatoes just because it's a Marvel movie, and they're sick of Disney like getting all the Marvel movies and having good movies.
I don't feel like Black Panther looks that good.
I think it looks good. It's gotten great. Everybody else says it's one of the better Marvel. But you hate
They
all
say
the superhero
every
movies.
freaking
You
movie
hate
is
Marvel
the
movies.
best.
That's another thing that's
I don't
another
hate
bone
Marvel
that I have
movies.
to pick with you.
I do not
You
hate Marvel
Marvel
movies.
movies. How many Marvel
Love
movies have you
Logan.
seen?
Love Iron Man. I love, what are some other ones that have been out? I guess Thor. I didn't really care for Thor that much.
No, I didn't either.
The Hulk movies aren't that good.
You won't. Yeah, the Hulk movie. The Hulk movies aren't that good.
The Avengers,
but you won't
it's just
watch
too
any
much.
movie made in the last 5 years from the Marvel universe.
It's too much. I got over it. Who needs it? I love Iron Man. I think Iron Man is a great film. But it's too much. I love Wonder Woman and Logan, recent films, but I don't need all these superhero movies, man. Jesus. Okay, Brock. I think that's it. Next up, we have Dog Eat Dog.
We do. Hey,
Was
Brian.
released
Is this
in 2016.
This is a movie about dogs, right?
We'll get there. Save it. Tune in. I think it's going to be a kind of special episode, so make sure you're tuning in for that one.
You guys, Valentine's Day is right around the corner.
So maybe there will be something special. We'll see.
Yeah.
That one was released in 2016, right?
Dog Eat Dog was it 2016 or 15?
it was 2016, and it's a 4.6.
Yes.
So we're getting out of the 4.4s. We're up to 4.6 now.
Moving on
We're
up.
almost to the 5s. We're almost to the 5s.
To the east
Do you want to tell them about Twitter and all that shit?
Yes. So you can find us, if you are so inclined, on Twitter. We are at WeGageCagePod. Learn how to spell. I'm not going to go through all the letters here. Also on Instagram at WeGageCagePod. And if you're listening to us on the Apple Podcasts app, then you could please rate and review us, and that'll bump up our ratings and bump up our ratings. But it will bump up our visibility, and so allow other people to find us. And then if you're trying to find us on the Google Play Music Store, good luck. It
Can't rate us either on there.
Yeah, it sucks for podcasts. It's getting better, I've been told, but it's not great right now. So,
all right.
Thank you so much. Tune in next week, and hey, good luck with your balls.
Hey, buena suerte con tus huevos.
Oh wait. Give me a little bit here. I got something. Got something for our
Spanish.
one Tokyo listener.
Oh, nice.
Anata no baru tokon.
I doubt that they are Japanese if they're listening to an. Well, I mean, I'm not. I guess
You don't
it could be
know.
bilingual,
You don't know for
but
sure.
I don't know for sure.
Anata no baru tokon.
Okay. Goodbye, everyone. Good luck with your balls.
Good luck with your balls.